Who will thrive in Week 5? It's a week of close matches and sweeps. All of that and more. Episode 5 of PokeCentre starts right now. Alright everyone, it is time to strap on that assault vest and charge into battle. It is episode 5 of PokeCentre. Welcome everyone to the show. As always, I'm Douglas Evans, joined by my co-host, Calvin Rowett. Calvin, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, and that's just what we're going to do. We're going to have all the highlights, talk about the standings, the kill leaderboard, preview this upcoming week. We're going to get into all that like we always do. But just as we always do, we start this week, like every other week, and we're going to talk about the trades. And trades this week, it was a family affair. If your last name's Rowett, you're making a trade this week. I don't know what you guys roll in sync or something like that, but we're going to break them all down. Let's start off in the sword division. We'll start off with the littlest Rowett, and that's William. And he traded his Tier 5 Tangela for a Go-Goat. What are your thoughts on that trade, Calvin?
Well, if anyone was familiar with William's draft in Season 6 last time, the Tangela kind of was a comfort pick from that season. It didn't really fit in with his team, so especially with just the weaker special defense. So he decided to go with something a little bit more offensive to go along with the rest of his team, and I think Go-Goat is a great pick. It's able to run a bulk up set quite well, and it's overall quite bulky, and it's got some cool options. This one gets a thumbs up from me.
Awesome. Moving on here to the next row, we're going to actually go on over to Laurel. Laurel traded a Tier 5 Leafeon for a Rotom Frost. What do you make of that one?
So this was an interesting trade. I think Leafeon was a pretty bad Pokemon on our team. Really didn't fit in with anything. You can actually see that this Rotom Frost pick is a reflex pick. It's definitely being chosen before a very important match for next week against Jonas. So you put 2 and 2 together, I think you can see how the Rotom Frost will be good. And overall, it helps her team with her ice weakness, gives her an electric type for volt switching, and it also fits in with her offensive nature. So for those reasons, I'll give it a thumbs up.
Sounds good. And let's talk about you yourself, Calvin. You also made a trade this week. You traded your Tier 5 Poliwrath for a Sea King. And it sounds like you as well were also making a trade kind of prepare for your battle this week. Tell me what you thought about the trade, why you did it. You didn't seem too happy about it when you commented in the thread. Give me your analysis.
I hate to see Poliwrath go. There's a lot of ups to that Pokemon, and I would have preferred to keep it. But based off the other drafts of this tournament and what I'm facing, it simply isn't going to be able to cut it. Sea King is worse in every single way. And honestly, I hope everybody just doesn't think 2 seconds about it. Just pretend it doesn't exist and don't prepare for it. This is a bad trade.
Oh, just not showing your hand at all when it comes to this trade, hey?
Absolutely not.
Fair enough, fair enough. I guess this probably isn't the platform to talk about all your strategies for everyone to know about.
Not at all.
Okay, so we also had Blade here attempted to do a trade. The only problem was he traded at 2:43 in the morning on Tuesday. Blade, my man, that is not how this works. If you want to go for that trade, let's try it again next Monday. And let's see how it works out for you. Now we covered all the trades. I think it's time to get in some highlights. Let's get it going right now. Starting off this week in the sword division, it's going to be my boy Blade against this real piece of shit Calvin. And I'm super fired up about this. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what tomfoolery or chicanery you pulled off, Calvin, but you played my boy Blade wrong, and I don't like it. Explain yourself right now. This is absolute garbage. A pile of hot garbage.
Whoa, calm down. You can blame me all you want for Blade's loss, but I think his inexperience is really what did him in here. Just like in these scenarios, you could see he didn't have proper speed control. He forgot, he wasn't paying attention to speed tiers, like bringing the Morpeko in against Tauros. And even here, the Inteleon actually gets Air Slash, which would have been great coverage for the Poliwrath, but he went for Dark Pulse instead. Now, there was one instance where I got lucky, actually, and he missed his play rough against me. But I was going to live the next one, and I still had a full team of 5 others in the back, so I had the game pretty much wrapped up. So lots for Blade to improve on for next week.
Whatever, call it one instance of lucky. I say the whole thing's lucky. I'm a little upset about that last match here, but let's keep it going with Lewis against Matthew.
And this matchup for Matthew this week was a match that it was quite challenging for him, and would quickly get out of hand later on in the game. But in the early moments of the match with the Toxicroak, Matt was in some really great positions. He got a nice critical hit on the Deontay, allowing him to 2-hit KO it. And the Passimian Being Choice Scarf is good for Lewis, but with that Mist Spirit in the back, it really creates some frustrating switch-ins, especially with U-Turn, Earthquake, Close Combat. But it would be at this point, after the Aurora Veil is up and the Blastoise is in, that it would dodge a Thunder Wave and get a nice Aura Sphere hit on the Miltank. But the Miltank had the Chople Berry, which is really great prep, and would secure a Thunder Wave the next turn on Blastoise. But Lewis adapted that and Shell Smashed again. So at this point, Matthew is just rolling the odds. He is praying for that Thunder Wave to kick in. That paralysis. He's switching around here. He's trying to get the opportunity. But as it stands, the Blastoise is set to sweep. But finally, boom, there it is. He got the odds, and he's able to take it down. Luckily, he had so many Pokemon in the back to afford him those chances for the Blastoise to be paralyzed. Very close game this week for him. Definitely he had to fight hard for it, and it quickly got out of control, but he was able to rein it in there in the end.
Keeping the action going, we got Joshua taking on Vikram.
Okay, so we've got Josh's team up against Vic's Sand offense. Now, I know before we were talking about how Josh plays a little too passively, and he's got a lot of the type overlap. Well, this match perfectly embodies how those issues would be taken advantage of to the highest extent. This Comfey is going to come in, and it's going to set up against this Dusclops, which is doing nothing to it, and he's going to easily 6-0 sweep the team because Joshua does not have the type defensively to take on the Comfey, like a Steel or a Poison type. This is just going to be a very easy sweep for Vic this week.
Yeah, and like you said, he's set up really well with the Comfey here, and it's another Comfey sweep. We've seen it on the shield side of things as well. Laurel utilizing it last week, and Comfey has proven to be a pretty dominant Pokemon in this tournament so far. And up next, it's Florian taking on Sean.
Okay, so I have a real gripe to pick here with Sean. I really disagree with his approach to this match against Flo. He took a very stall approach, as you can see here. A lot of Leech Seeds, Toxics, Protects, Substitutes. Something that was really odd, especially when he offensively had so many advantages against Flo's Ice offense. And there are moments where it seems like Sean is taking some minor advantages, but in situations where I think an offensive Venusaur could have potentially one-shot things, like right here, a well-timed Sludge Bomb may have yielded a kill. Instead, he gets a little lucky here, and he's passively hurting Pokemon. Now there will be some moments of hacks like here, like the critical. He would get double critical hit heavy slams. Evidently, I don't think it mattered too much because I think Sean's game plan overall was very flawed, especially with a team with lots of protects and a Pokemon with hyperspace pull. Goes through protect. Sean really didn't think that through, and means that Hoopa is going to be tremendously good in this match. So I think this was a bit of a flawed game plan for Sean, and just a much easier win this week for Flo than what he may have anticipated.
Sean was able to down the one Mon, though, and at least avoid the total 6-0 sweep, so just a 5-0 loss for him. Good win by Flo. Up next, it's Conor West taking on Hayden.
And if these first two turns aren't evidence of how this match is going to go, fast and furious. First turn, Reggie Steele knocks out the Carbink, and second turn, Darmanitan will retaliate by knocking out the Reggie Steele. Boom, it's already a 5v5 match. And well, very quickly, Hayden's going to be able to neutralize the Gliscod, which has done really well for Conor in the past, by getting a really nice 30% flame body burn and knock it out with a Hurricane. Looks good for Hayden until this Jolteon comes in and just starts clicking Thunderbolt. And Hayden does not react very well to it.
Whoa, Calvin, do you see that comment by Hayden there? He's asking why he's attacking. What do you mean, why is he attacking? This is not Pokemon Snap, it's a battle. What the hell are you talking about? What a dumbass comment is that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, when you don't have a ground type or a grass type on your team, a Pokemon like Jolteon can just click Thunderbolt and win the game, and which is basically what Conor does to win this match. I think Hayden might want to look into a ground type or something.
Good win by Conor this week. And our last match in the Sword Division this week, it's Paul against William. Now I was kind of noticing here that William's play in the beginning of this match was a little messy and a little all over the place, Calvin. Kind of break this down for me.
Well, as you can see here, William's able to get the camera up in against the Banette, which gives him a huge advantage. But then he just goes for Stealth Rock, and the Savali Water is able to offensively threaten William's team really badly. And Paul's just going to roll with it. He once again brings the bulky defensive Scrafty, and it really actually does perfect against this Boltund. Able to pick it off with the Fake Out. That's a good use of this Pokemon. William would continue to struggle. He would try an ill-fated Trick Room setup, and the Meloetta would be actually evolve into its after the Relic song there. But William's Choice Scarf Swanna would actually be able to pick it off, which is really cool tech. And we'll see it again later on when the Lilligant was able to Quiver Dance. Honestly, Swanna's a really underrated threat. Now, a missed Hurricane would give Savali the opportunity to knock it out here. And thanks to William holding on to that barely alive Kadabra, he's able to skim by with a very close victory.
Good thing he brought a Focus Sash. Let's head over to the Shield Division now. And kicking us off, it's going to be Brian taking on Ross.
Another game for Ross that is just not going well for him. He's going to take a loss, and this time it's going to be against the newcomer, Brian. I got to give this new guy, Brian, props. You know, you see a team with Torkoal and Victor Bell and Houndoom, and, well, you expect Sun. But what does he go? He goes all in on the screens with Meowstic and a sub-Calm Mind Meloetta. I got to give this kid props. That is absolutely brilliant, and, you know, it caught Ross completely off guard. Now, he had opportunities to defog, and he could have, you know, tried dealing with it a little more offensively, but it just comes out of left field so quickly, and, you know, he just didn't deal with it at all, and frustration ultimately took over and secured this loss for him.
Yeah, I think so. Like, Brian really showed that he was really prepared for this match. Totally caught Ross off guard with this set. Ross is going to unfortunately forfeit out of frustration with the way things are going in this match. But I don't want to take that away from Brian's great win and his first win in this season here for him. And up next, it's Connor Peterson taking on Simon. What a match this was. A favorite among the players in this league. Actually came in second place for Game of the Week this week. And we're going to see why here. This Bronzong is going to be coming in with a rollout set. And the crazy thing is, as you can see, it's actually going to be working. Why is it working? This is nuts. Tell me, Calvin.
Well, if you take a close look at Conor's team, he doesn't have a single rock resist. So, in most situations, this Bronzong rollout would be pretty much the worst set you've ever thought of. But in this situation, well, this is big brain, and it gets chip damage on everything. So hey, works out pretty damn good. Now, Conor's not totally out of this match. He's going to have this Tyrantrum set up quite safely with a nice, good Dragon Dance, and he's got Head Smash, he's got Earthquake, and he's got Outrage. So it's looking pretty terrible for Simon here. But luckily, he's going to bait him into locking himself into Outrage. And since the Gigalith did not receive enough chip damage, well, the Outrage is not going to be able to KO, and Gigalith is going to be able to knock it out. Thus, putting Simon back into control of this match. And, you know what? I love to see it. I love seeing Statland come in at the end of the game and clean things up. Honestly, Simon, you're getting really damn good at this. And look at that, 2 wins this season. That is huge, my man. I'm super proud of you for this.
Might have to start calling Statland the big dog. And up next, we got Laurel taking on Reggie.
Yeah, Laurel's going to have some unfortunate ups and downs in this match. And Neuvern's actually set to put in a lot of work with this Throat Spray set. And it's actually going to be able to take out Aromatize very well. Able to 2-shot it with Boom Burst here. But lucky for Reggie, a crit takes it out and totally wastes Laurel's Neuvern. But hey, things are looking really good for this Meg Mortar. I'm sure it's going to be really important in this matchup.
Uh-oh, Chinchino's coming. It's probably got Rock Blast. Get it out of there. Or just leave it in and watch Meg Mortar die. And there it goes. Never mind.
Yeah, that was probably the worst case scenario. Laurel really needed it to take out the Steelix this match and also to help with the Talonflame. She was able to keep it a nice close game though, but ultimately Steelix was unchecked and, well, it was able to just kill everything at the end.
Laurel's got no choice but to bring the Comfy in here. It's our last Pokemon left and it's going to go for a Draining Kiss, but all Laurel's going to do is just kiss this win goodbye. Good win for Reggie this week. Up next, it's Chris going up against Zeb.
Wow, this is a really fun match. Zeb's been doing really well in the tournament thus far, and he's looking to pick up another win. But, man, our boy Chris is just starving for his first win this season. So he's going to go all out with this Blossom set. And, man, this thing is just disgusting. Moonblast with the grass coverage, along with Quiver Dance and Strength Sap. This thing just is never going to die. Just when you think you've got a physical attacker in there, like Glycopod, to take a big hit on it, it's just going to heal up and intimidate you in one go. So Zeb would eventually find a way around it, and he would actually get himself into an advantageous position with this Terra here, with the Rock Polish set. This is a Pokemon that can do some real damage. Chris's best way of dealing with it at this point is by going into his Focus Sash Combustion and trying to outboost and get some critical Blaze Kick damage on it. But Torterra is able to live, and this turn right here, Zeb predicts the Protect and goes for another Rock Polish, guaranteeing that he gets another kill here with Torterra. But unfortunately, its lack of good enough coverage means that Palosso's is going to be able to come in again and do what it did before, Quiver Dance, Strength Sap. And this ultimately leads to Chris gaining the victory here. Honestly, super happy for him to get his first win this season. And I think long-term member Luke Bauer would have really been happy with this Blossom sweep since he was such a big fan of this Pokemon.
Who gives a fuck about Luke?
switching things up, we've got Jonas versus Norman.
And just like there's two sure things in this tournament, and that's the fact that Jonas is going to win and Norman's going to lose. By God, no matter what, those are two certainties in this tournament so far. Jonas is going to beat Norman so bad here. The he completely forgot that he even lost already. He was in the group chat looking to lose his next match. Buddy, you already lost. I can't even believe it. This is just a sign of someone that's just really given up and just... I don't even know what to say. I'm completely speechless. But at least this time, he didn't forfeit. He saw it through. And our last match this week, and what a match it was. It's Jared going to get up against Robin. This is a huge match that totally lived up to the hype. Just some great sets, some great plays, great predictions, everything you want out of a battle, all right here. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. Take it away, Calvin. Tell us about this match.
Oh yeah, absolutely great play on both players' parts. Just like this right here. Sword stance on the Protect against the Tauros with the Savali. Gets a kill. Really cool. There's a lot of mind games going on here. Mostly revolving around the basculin and what item it was. Jared forgot to have it as adaptability, which left Robin quite confused during most of the game here, which gave Jared some advantages. Now near the end game here, this Savali is going to be trying to combat this Meganium. They're both boosting, but the Savali is boosting faster. And it's going to be able to Rock Slide to get the proper chip damage, and U-turn out to get the KO, which would leave the Basculin to defeat the Typhlosion with its adaptability Aqua Jet. But Jared reveals he messed up. No adaptability, it's reckless. Oh, what a close match. Robin's able to get the narrow victory here in what was an absolutely great game.
It is now time to talk about the kill leaderboard after week 5 of competition. And not a lot to talk about this week. Williams Metagross still holding that first place spot. Reggie Savali Dark still in second place. Really the only changes are third and fourth place. Jonas's Arc Assault with 10 kills and 1 death takes the place of Florian's Arc Assault from last week. And bumping Jared out of fourth place with his Reggie Rock, it's Lewis's Blastoise with 9 kills and 5 deaths. Not a whole lot going on here, but still want to keep this going up to date week in and week out. And this is how we're shaping up this week, and we'll see how it looks the next week. It is that time to get into the standings. Another week has gone by. Another week of competition, and let's see how things are shaping up after 5 weeks of competition in the Commander Draft Tournament. As we can see on the Sword side of things, still undefeated is both Matthew and yourself, Calvin. 5-0. Matthew's got that plus 18 differential. You got the plus 15 differential. We'll get more into that into a little bit here. You can see Flo and William still in great spots, 4-1. Vikram is in a good spot too. Conor West is in a position in striking distance to move his way up that ladder as well. On the Shield side, we got Jonas and Reggie are still undefeated, 5-0, with some huge differentials on their side of things. Robin, Jared, Laurel, Zeb, also in good positions as well. And things are always changing and moving, and really any of these players can be in one of those top 4 spots at any point. And what are your kind of thoughts on what you see here with these standings?
Well, in the beginning weeks of this tournament, we we noticed how Sword was very competitive. But actually, at this point, I'd say Sword is the most fragmented and kind of stabilized as far as, like, there's definitely divisions where, like, the top 4 guys are really solidified in their positions, and the bottom, like, 5 players are pretty set down there. Like, you got Lewis, Hayden, Paul, Blade, all with just 1 win, and Josh with none. Such a large gap between the bottom and the top on the Sword side, whereas actually on the Shield side, things are a little bit more spread evenly. Like, for example, Jared and Laurel are interchangeable at any point, just with differential in getting Laurel into a playoff spot if Jared ever gets low differential wins. And then Zeb's also in that conversation, actually, in a playoff position on the Shield side. And you got Ross and Simon climbing up. And speaking of Simon, wow, this is a player that was a novice in Season 6, coming in Season 7. He's already got 2 wins, That is fantastic. Chris and Brian both ending their losing streaks and getting big wins this week. Shield is actually really exciting this week, and the standings are definitely reflecting that. Whereas Sword, things are starting to get a little top-heavy, I'd argue.
I would agree with that. Shield definitely has picked up its interest level, and it's been the last 2 weeks, not just last week. Even looking at a player like Zeb, in his first week, he lost to Jonas, and we weren't too sure what we thought about that, and he's really kind of made a name for himself in this tournament. He's in 6th place, but he's zero in the differential. He can move up, he can move down, but he's an interesting factor in the weeks to come, in my opinion. Moving ahead now, let's start talking about next week. We got a few good, big, interesting matches to talk about, and I know one that I'm excited for, and that's Reggie against Jared on the Shield side of things. The number 2 seed and the number 4 seed going at it. Anytime you got the two of the top players in the division going at it, it's always interesting, always exciting, as we saw this week with Jared and Robin. An awesome match, and hopefully next week will be just as good. What do you think of that match?
Yeah, I think this is going to be another great match. Both close players as far as skill level goes. I'd say Jared is still more of the wild card of the two. Reggie is a very stable, balanced player who's very methodical, whereas Jared is like that firecracker, right? He's a little bit more unpredictable and willing to take chances. So I think this might be Reggie's first loss, or it could be just another big, great win for him.
Yeah, agreed. And I know onto the Sword side of things, the match you told me you were looking forward to is Lewis against William. What's got you so hyped about that match?
Well, these two got a little bit of friction, especially after last season when Lewis edged William out of playoffs by getting into that 8th spot simply by a single point of differential. So, and I know William was a little sour about that, not being able to hit playoffs last season. And they're both rising stars as far as the NCPL are concerned. They're both mid to low B-rank players. So it's kind of cool seeing similarly skilled players kind of moving up in the ranking. And I think just the offensive nature of their team is going to translate into a very fast-paced and exciting match.
I would agree with that, and I think definitely, like you said, with that loss that William took last season and getting edged out by Lewis, I think he's definitely really looking to pick up a big win and kind of shove it in Lewis's face for this season here. Another big match for this week, it's Jonas against Laurel. Again, top seeds in the Shield division. Laurel's kind of in the bit of the middle, but she's still in contention there, and hopefully I think she would love an opportunity, and she's going to get that opportunity to hand Jonas his first loss of the season.
Yeah, anything's possible. Laurel has traditionally not performed well against higher ranked players, but she's got some pretty cool offensive tricks on her team. Jonas obviously has a juggernaut of a team, but I think the mix of the two could be interesting, and it's just one to keep your eyes out for.
Definitely. And probably our biggest match coming up this week, and I know it's a match that you're really preparing for, and it is yourself taking on Matthew. A huge match, probably one of the biggest matches, if not the biggest match we've had so far in this tournament. It's the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed in the Sword division. Super close differentials. Matthew's got that plus 18 to your plus 15. You're really in striking distance to take him over for the top place in the division. You're both undefeated. Someone's going to lose. There's only going to be one player left undefeated in Sword division at the end of this week. If I haven't put enough pressure on you yet for this match, what are your thoughts? I know you don't want to give away too much, but what are you thinking heading into this match this week?
Well, I'm not going to get into strategy or anything, but there's a lot of stakes in this. And honestly, after last season's playoffs, I got to say I'm still a little salty. I'm definitely coming for blood this time. I am hopefully gotten all my hacks out of the way in the earlier parts of this season, so going into this match, I hope to have a nice clean game, and hopefully I can put Matt down and take my rightful place at the top of the throne.
Well, hey, if I can give you a little bit of advice, I would just say utilize a quick claw so you can get a one-hit KO with the Focus Sash. That's worked well for me in the past, and I think you can really utilize it this week against Matthew.
Yeah, Doug. I'll take that into account for sure.
What do I know? I'm just a host of PokeCentre here. So anyway, we got a lot of big matches coming up next week. That's going to do it for us this week. Be sure to stay tuned for the game of the week. It's Jared versus Robin, an absolutely awesome match from this past week. Gotta watch it in full if you haven't seen it yet. The highlight package does not do it justice. And that's, like I said, that's going to do it for us here. Your Pokemon have been rested, and we hope to see you soon.